I am on a boat right now on Lake Titicaca. I'm here with Julia. She's my excellent tour companion, my chaperone, my friend. And we are off. We will come back to the mainland later today about 5 o'clock. And it's festival time here. By the way, I was on an overnight bus, so yeah, I look a little disheveled because the bus left at 10 p.m. and arrived here in Puno at 5:30 a.m. It was a very comfortable bus, but I still didn't sleep more than maybe 2 hours. But anyway, I've got a little coffee in me and I'm excited for the day. So here we go. Lake Titicaca is the highest navigable lake in the world by 3,800 meters, which I think is close to 14,000 feet. And it's a freshwater lake. It's quite deep and it's in the middle of the mountains, and you will see lots more.
También nos acompaña nuestro el señor.
Hola amigos, here I am at sea level at last, at the doorstep of the Amazon rainforest. I just arrived, I haven't explored yet, but I wanted to check in with you guys because I was editing my video last night from Lake Titicaca, which I will post in a little bit. And one of the videos in which I explain everything just didn't turn out. I'm learning that this just kind of happens with GoPro, and so you'll have to see my mug another time in another location. So I just wanted to tell you some things I think are kind of important. And by the way, look at my view here. I've got a view of the bridge. I'm in Puerto Maldonado, right on the banks of one of the rivers that feeds into the Amazon. It's a jungle atmosphere. I'm really enjoying being at sea level and breathing a lot and being in the warm tropical climate where I'll be. Until March, I'll be in warm tropical climates for the most part. Anyway, okay, here's what I want you to know. There are approximately 170 islands on Lake Titicaca, and around 100 of them, estimates vary, there's somewhere between 80 and 120 of these floating islands. And there's typically about 8 families per island, or about 40 people. Their ancestors are said to be pre-Columbian from Asia originally. They came down, crossed the Bering Strait, and migrated all the way down into the Andes. It's estimated that the first people from Euros, which are basically the names of the group of floating islands, the Euros people first arrived 3,700 years ago. And they do have in their faces, you can kind of see there's a bit of Asian influence. In fact, I've noticed that there are quite a few people in the Andes region that have sort of slanted eyes and look a little bit like they're from Asia. In any case, let's talk about the islands because it's kind of mind-blowing. I've never seen anything like it. It's very unusual. So these islands are created by stacking layers and layers and layers of a grass called totoro, and it's the roots and reeds. They use the totoro plants to make their boats, to make their houses and the roofs, and their mattresses and more. It's basically their lifeblood. It's what they have. I will show you a still picture of a slice from the island so you can see what's happened as over the years these reeds and grasses sort of decompose and the root system grows a little bit deeper, and so the island becomes a little bit thicker. The islands are said to be able to last for about 30 years. So what happens after 30 years? I guess you start over and start building a new island. So in order to keep the islands where they are, because they are floating on Lake Titicaca, is they use poles and ropes to keep them in place. And originally they would move islands if they needed to escape, but now they rarely move them. An example of a time that they might move an island is if a couple, one from one island and another from another island, are getting married. And for that event, they would move the islands to somewhere in the middle and bring the islands together for that period of time. It's to signify that they are coming together, and also probably for convenience so everybody can just stumble back on home. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if they drink alcohol or not. Okay, so you're going to see us go on a boat. It is one of these grass-made boats, and they let their children come on the boat with us, and they were precious. They knew one phrase to say in English, which was, "What is your name?" And so they told us what their names. I asked one little boy what his age was, and he did answer in Spanish. So they don't just have their native language, they also speak Spanish as well. Okay, so every year they add another layer to their ground, to the island floor. Every single year they also have to every single year rebuild their houses, because they're just made of this grass. They have to rebuild their houses, they have to rebuild the boat, and anything else that they have has to be rebuilt every single year. Clearly they are very poor people, but just to give you a little bit more idea, most of them have not finished any schooling beyond the primary grades. There are schools on the islands. Some of the schools do go all the way up to high school, but it's very rare that a student or a child would be able to attend school for that long, in part because they're needed at home to help work. They live free on the islands, and what I mean by that is not just that they are free to do what they choose, they pay no taxes, etc., but they live for free. It doesn't cost really anything, because the grass is native to Lake Titicaca and it grows everywhere. And so I even saw a boat carrying a massive amount. They do have some motorboats, and this was a motorboat carrying a massive amount of the grass on it. It was bringing it to some other island for them to use for something. So why don't they get off the island? Well, to buy property in the nearest town, which is Puno, Peru. Apparently it costs 500 soles, or a little over $100, and this is a lot of money for them to put together. And besides, their ancestors and have always done this way of life. I don't think I mentioned, it is believed that the Uros people, the people of Uros, have been in the Andes for 3,700 years. And so that's a long-standing tradition, and so most people probably don't think a whole lot about leaving that lifestyle behind. They meet a partner on another island, and they continue with their lifestyle. Not all of the islands in the Uros allow tourists on board. However, we were welcomed quite warmly, which you will see in the video. And they were glad to give us a glimpse into their way of life, which was really nice. So later in the video, also, we go to Amantani, which is the largest island on Lake Titicaca. It's not a floating island. It is a bona fide island that comes up out of the sea. It's part of a mountain range, that comes up out of the sea. And we were very fortunate to arrive during fiesta days, and were treated to a wonderfully garish display of joy and community. So you'll see that too. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying being able to share my adventures with you all. So keep on checking in, okay? And a big shout out to super fan Josh Tunis And I think my daughter goes along with that pretty well too. So I'm going to shout out to both of them, to Josh and Carrie, my #1 super fans. Hola, from Puerto Maldonado, Peru. They are very welcoming here. They say whatever they say, and then we say "Welki." Then we pass under this arch. Very sweet. Okay, we're calling this the Mercedes-Benz, and we're going out.
Oh, where's the bunny?
¿Tú hablas español? ¿O hablas aymara?
Hasta la vista. This is so cool.
Approx, this is
This
1
is
meter,
what we're
no?
walking
Another
on
meter,
right
2
now.
meters that thick, approx. Entonces, 1 metro acá, otro metro promedio, ¿no? Unos 2 metros, algo así, de grosor más o menos. Puede ser menos, ¿no? Así. Ahora estas
Floating
islas
island.
no se mueven, porque mira...
We're on another island now, Amante, and this is an agriculture island. There's terraces all over the place that have been here for around 3,000 years. It's very rocky, as you can see, but they were able to have their agriculture to raise crops because of the terraces. We're gonna do a climb for about 15 minutes. There's a fiesta going on, and so I'll show you a fiesta here in this little island. Actually, this is the biggest island of them all in Lake Titicaca, Amantani. Here comes the beer.
Amigos, nos vemos acá en español. En español. Ok, nos vemos entonces a las 12:30. Llegar en unos 30 minutos, 35. Ahí nomás será. Bueno, en realidad cuando no hay fiesta...